Here we go.
Wow.
Sharing it to Facebook. And okay. Oh my goodness. Blessed be the miracle of this new day. I am Heidi Little, and I am here with grandmother Shannon CrossBear and grandfather Bob Challenger. Ooh! 8 years of International Children's Month. Happy International Children's Month. And we're going to start this day off with prayers from grandfather Bob Challenger. You are watching live on World Unity Week and the Children's Global Wave of Love Day. 1:11 p.m. in your heart and time zone. We come together to cultivate, feel, embody love, care, and respect of all the children on earth. And then we send it out to the next time zone and to our brothers and sisters in all our relations. So without further ado, let us create a beautiful circle as we restore the sacred hoop within ourselves and our family, our global family. All right. Yay, Bob.
Oh, great Spirit, this is my prayer. Help me to feel thine urge and thy message. Help me to be just and at all times. Help me to be kind. If my brothers and sisters are weak and faltering, help me to the good thoughts and show me the way that I may help them. Move me so that I may find a way to help all those who are in need. O great Spirit, I pray for your blessing. I pray that you bring peace to all my brothers and sisters of this world. I pray that you give us the knowledge to live as brothers and sisters and to love one another. O great Spirit of our ancestors, I raise my pipe to you. To your messengers, the four winds, and to Mother Earth, who provides for your children. Give us the wisdom to teach our children to love, to respect, and to be kind to one another, so that they may grow with peace in mind. Let us learn to share all the good things that you provide for us on this earth. O great Spirit, bless all those that are here with me today to pray for world peace. Amen.
Amen. Aho. All right, thine will be done. Here we grow. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, God. Thank you, all our relations. Moving that beautiful rainbow circle out to embrace our planet and our and bring in all our goodness of our universes. It can expand even out to all the universes if we wanted to. All our relations are with us this day. All right, grandmother Shannon CrossBear.
Yes, Miss Heidi Little.
Here we get to be all together, the three of us, to discuss, converse, co-create, as we have been for 8 years together.
You know,
Moving from, yeah, Bob?
it's really interesting to see the geography that is represented here with grandmother Shannon up in Lake Superior. My God, the start of the Great Lakes, and then I'm here in southwestern Ontario, an hour and a quarter from Niagara Falls and the Rainbow Bridge, which I was at yesterday. and I'll be at again today at 111. And then I'm around the Great Lakes. I do a lot of water ceremony here, especially when Shannon helps me out. Thank you. And so anyway, and then you're in Texas.
Yeah, I love you guys. I'm hoping that everyone can handle themselves while we're on this live stream for the next 12 hours because I already hear the dog needing help. I'm like, okay, you guys can do it. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Yes, I'm in Texas. And it's a beautiful day here. Started off with Agnihotra ceremony and some prayers for all our relations and my family, for the grace and the mantle of spirit to be on us, and the medicine blankets of the grandmothers to be with us today, as we understand and come to realize that inside of us really is the power to make the change, right? And these are the regular conversations that we have together. So I would love for Shannon to kind of just set the table for us here, and let us know, give us kind of like an understanding of what we are moving into. Shannon.
Thanks, Heidi. First of all, I just want to thank you, Bob, for sharing that prayer. And for no, at the end of that prayer, you said amen. And people say amen. But a lot of times they don't know what the end of that prayer, what that amen means. And so as I was taught, it translates to so be it. So as we say those things, so be it. And that's where we're at. We have had, as Heidi said, you know, this is one of many, 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 many platforms that are all rising. And as we know, all things that rise eventually converge. And so we are at that point, and we are in the middle of this miracle. When we kind of started this conversation, we started about being in the middle of a miracle. And now we really are in the fruition of that miracle. And so not only expect it, but know that you are already in it. We are already in it. And we start, you know, for International Children's Month, it was a vision that was given to Heidi. I consider myself, as every good movement needs a grandma. And
you betcha. You betcha. Yeah.
And so, and elevating how important that is, right? Especially at this time, as we usher in, like there will be lots of things happening today that really have that youth, young adult voice that has taken up the mantle, so to speak, but is actually pushing us further. And I thank those young people for that.
Me too.
And I thank the mothers and the fathers
that
raised those young people in a difficult time.
Blessings to them all. Yes.
In a really difficult time. So today, what we wanted to do, and we're just kind of, what we're doing is, I think, as Heidi said, setting the table. But I want to take a step back, because before I set the table, I have to acknowledge the things that I need to do to prepare myself to set the table.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Right?
Sure.
So, and I want to share that with people, because it's so important, especially on this day. We have all these things happening at the same time. We have Father's Day. Yay. We have the longest day of the year. Yay, yay.
Yay, yay.
Lots of light.
Yes.
And we have all of these activities happening today, right? The prayer, putting out the prayers to the world to change it in that instant, as it's being changed as we speak now, right? And so all of that's happening at the same time. So that's a lot of energy, right?
Oh, yeah. And it's an eclipse too today, right? Is today also the eclipse?
So there's just all this that
converging,
right? And yay, as I said. But before I do that, I have to acknowledge the first thing that we do when we get up in the morning. These are the things that we can do to change the world.
Yes,
Because they
yes, yes,
change our world, right?
yes, yes, go for
We
it.
get up in the morning and the first thing that we do is what? We greet the Father Sky, the Father Sun, grandfathers, that male energy of bringing in the day. We, the grandmothers, took care of the night. Now it is the grandfathers that take care of the day. And so, so we know we need that balance, right? Everything is in that first moment of waking up when our eyes open. Right?
Or,
When our
or
eyes open,
it's
we
just
open,
like,
yeah,
right,
we open
the heart, right? The heart, the breath.
yeah,
Say
new
it,
day,
Jen.
new day. And we thank, we thank the creator for that new day. So I did that this morning.
Me too.
And then, I think of the medicines I need to help me make it through the day. Like
Right,
it's
right.
just something that I do. And I encourage people in this new time to do this in whatever fashion that will give them what they need, right? It's not prescriptive. You have your own understanding, your own relationship, and all is well. And in that prayer that Bob shared with us, he said, Great Spirit. That was the terminology that he used.
Right, yes.
Because as I understand it, and again, these are my teachings that have been shared with me, and I'm sharing them because the first thing you do when you find something good is to share it, because you never
Right?
know how far it's going to
The
go.
power of the share.
And I credit that to the education of Little Tree and his ground. So, when he says Great Spirit, the way that I was taught is it means the spirit that moves through all things. That's a closer translation to the spirit that moves through all things. We are all related, all of life, right? So, so all of those things, and some of that life gives me medicines that help me, right? Help me to center. And so I have my smudge. And what I put in that is I put sage in there. And sage helps me it's a cleansing. It kind of gets you present. Like, it's hard to get in a room. And we have to get in a virtual room. That's even more difficult. So those that are with us that are either watching this presently live or will be watching this later, we thank you for, spending a little bit of time with us.
Yeah, definitely.
And, and there'll be lots to hear and listen. And the nice thing is you can go back to it. But, do what you need to do to come into the room with us, right? So, because this is an important conversation, and someday somebody's going to say, what happened on June 21st, 2020 that changed the world?
Right?
And they need to know that there is something that is going to happen, but we also need to tell them about what led to that. It's not just what happened today.
Right.
What's important is what's happened leading up to this.
Oh my gosh, so much.
And what it looks like, so people are not so frightened of the world right now as they see it.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So we can help them do that. So all of these medicines help me do that. The sage helps me get present, helps other people get present into the room. In my smudge, I put tobacco because I use that as when the smoke rises, I put it out to that spirit that moves through all things.
Right.
That intention, what is it that I want to have this conversation? How is it that we can truly reach people, even in this medium, even in this day, even in this time, right? Even more important. So I put that in there, and then I put cedar, because cedar was given to us as a healing, like not just physical healing, although it takes care of colds, and there's other applications for the cedar, but also for our spirits and our minds and our hearts, all of us. It's a healing, has healing components to it. And then there is the sweetgrass, which is really about protection. but it's also about bringing all the gifts of the earth into our life. We braid the sweetgrass. We braid Mother Earth's hair to remember that. That's why we do that. And then we have that in our, light some sweetgrass, and we, kind of, as I say it, seal the deal. And so those are the things that I do. But I always remember the first medicine, which is water.
Yes, right. Blessings to the water. Blessings to you. Blessings to the water.
And today, Heidi, I ask for clarity, because the water provides clarity for us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And as many other things. So welcome into the room. Welcome to this discussion. Bob just got up, but he'll be back.
I'm trying to make sure we've got everything going on our live feed. I can't tell.
It says in the corner, just
Yeah.
so you know, of my screen, which is on a computer, it says live on Facebook.
Yeah, that's good. So it will be on this will be streamed on the World Unity Week Facebook page, and everywhere else we'll get it up into YouTube. So when we began this journey, it was about peace, and it's World Peace and Prayer Day today also, and talking to peace, speaking to peace. It's an inside job, right? We've talked about this many times before. But sharing with the children and the youth, it comes from inside of us. It's not like it is sitting together with all your friends. But in order to sit together with all your friends, you got to be able to sit with yourself first. And just to the children and the families listening, you are the miracle. It's like inside of us is that place and that authority and that space to be here, because we were born onto this planet, and many of us have been born into things that are very challenging. We've been born into a world that is challenging. The times upon us are very interesting. They can be graceful. They can be filled with love. And that is the power of the present moment, of the present breath, of being present. So bringing us back to that center space inside of ourselves through the breath, breathing in the love, and breathing out the love. And for years, we've been running this global wave of love together. And we're asking people to cultivate inside of themselves love, care, and respect. And Bob, you've been working with Niagara Falls. You've been working with the peace inside of yourself. You yourself had a vision that set you on the course. Every one of us had a vision that set us on the course. Every one of us had an inner calling, Shannon, Bob, myself, to rise to the occasion. And no matter what the people around us thought of what we were doing, we still stood in our space, stood in our breath, in our heart, and continued always to try to do the next right thing. And as we continue to move through the world doing the next right thing, sometimes we misstep, but that doesn't mean the world's going to end. And I know it seems like a big deal when we make mistakes or have problems with people. But if we keep it to ourselves, to continue to tell ourselves, I love myself, and I respect myself, and I care for myself, we're going to make really different things happen for us in our lives than what we're used to seeing. We're in a rise of equality. Equality for our Indigenous relations, equality for women, equality for children, equality for men, equality for colors of skin and religious beliefs, and peace, as I see it spread across the whole world right now. All I can do is remember to breathe.
Well, Heidi, while you're talking about visions, I was shown a vision of the future on December 31st, 1986. And I won't get into all the details about how that came to be, but it was the first world healing meditation that took place all over the world at the same moment in time, which was noon Greenwich time. And I was in Acapulco on holiday with my family, I bought the book called The Planetary Commission before going down to Acapulco, and it was all about it was from John Randolph Price, and it was about the state of the first half. It was a very thin book, actually. It wasn't very big. But the first half of the book was sort of was talking about the problems on the planets at that particular time, which was around, in the mid 80s, 1980s. And then the second half of the book was a description, a suggestion about what we could do to change that and change it into a kind of world that we'd want to live in. And John Randolph Price was suggesting that we come together at the same moment in time, at noon Greenwich time, on December 31st, 1986. People all over the world. Apparently, there was like 500 million people that were participating at that same moment in time for peace.
Fantastic.
I was shown the future, and I just will tell you this: it works for everybody. There's no no famine. Everybody gets everything they want, and they live in peace together, and they don't drive powered vehicles.
Interesting. It's going to be a stretch getting there, or an instant, depending on how we let it flow.
Be a miracle.
A miracle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the youth talk to me about that. They're really interested in how to transform the energy systems and electric skateboards and like different ways of getting around. Absolutely. Yeah, it's something to ponder, and when we ponder, we help it grow. Yeah. Whatever we're pondering, we help it grow. Whatever we're putting our intention into, as you well know. So thank you for kicking that off. In 86, I was 11 years old that year.
Okay.
And double ones. I came in awake and without the veil. And so I'm happy to know you were here. I could feel y'all. I knew you were here, but we didn't have the internet then. We didn't even have phones that moved from the wall. And if you had a big long cord, you were really lucky because you could take it into your room. So speaking about where we've come from, Shannon, where were you headed with that conversation? You wanted to talk, Bob's added some in about where we came from with our first real global meditation. And now we're calling people to that pretty much every day. They're being called to global meditation at this point in time. And I think it's helping a lot of people feel connected in this time of kind of uncertainty. So that's a beautiful thing. And it works. So what have you got?
What I got?
What do you got? What do you got to share?
What I got? Yeah, there have been so many times, and so many gifts of have been given to me just out of grace, out of pure grace. And so I was born in grace, and that means for me, what that means is that, along the way, I was really guided to know what my purpose was, and, my purpose on this earth walk. And so, I have an I am statement, and, I am a beautiful, powerful, spiritual woman. And my purpose is to utilize my strength and my determination and my skills in order to both demonstrate and promote gentle healing. So I've spent a lot of time, learning about what that means, right? And for me, because I have to demonstrate it. And if I'm going to demonstrate it, then I have to do it. So I've been in this process learning, and I've been given lots of opportunities to do that on this earth walk. And guide, get connected like I am with both of you and with the wider world. And in terms of knowing about connection to others, I've always known that. I've always known about all my relatives. And even as a child, my prayers were really, I used to, before I prayed in the morning, but I also prayed at night. And when I prayed before I went to sleep, I would pray for other people, but I never how some people, I see some people, they pray for their families or whatever. No, and it was very cumbersome sometimes because I would set out and I would pray for all my my friends, all my family first, and then all my family members. Then I would pray for all my friends, and then I would pray for all my enemies. And then I would go back and I would, because that just wasn't enough, I had to pray for all my family's friends and enemies. And all my enemies, friends and enemies, and all my friends, enemies, and relatives. Right. So anyway,
you're witnessing a prayer warrior here, just in case anybody didn't get it.
I look, you know what? I look back at that, and I look back at that, 7-year-old child.
I love that 7-year-old.
Right?
Yeah.
Who got it, right? The inclusivity of it, and made sure that those things were. Now, gratefully, I now can just say all my relations. Because because I have to include in that intention.
Right.
I have to include my other relatives, and I have been blessed by being here in the middle of the boreal forest on the shores of Lake Superior, because these are my teachers, right? Yeah. These are my other teachers, my other relatives who show us how life works,
right?
Who give us natural laws. So going forward, that's the thing that all of us, we just need to be in alignment with natural law.
Right. The river flows into the ocean, which has a cleaning mechanism inside of it. It's got animals and a whole other humanity, or whatever you want to call it, a whole other humanity, whatever the words are, and the trees and the mountains.
Yes, and the things that we say, are, you hear people kind of like, oh, if I come back, I want to come back as a horse, right? Guess what? You get to.
Yeah, sure. You might want to come back as a unicorn.
You are everything, and everything you get to, right? So why wouldn't you treat yourself well, right? So, Bob, I am so happy because that you got that vision, right? And that you saw it, because more and more every day I keep thinking, oh, yay, heaven on earth.
Oh, I know. And it's, you look outside and it's like, okay, but then you feel underneath it and it's like, okay, right? Get underneath it and feel into underneath it, not the surface stuff. It's not the decoration, right? It's not about the topping on the cake. It's about, it can be glorify, hallelujah, it's like pink and yellow and blue colors and whatever colors you want to be. We're in Pride Month, Rainbow Warriors, here we grow, but it's like when you're feeling like the cars are going too fast and the world is too loud, and there are people that aren't behaving the way you wish they would behave because they don't know any better yet. It's like, get inside and get underneath and connect to the planet and feel the support of the Mother Earth for you and for your relations, right? Like, I'm speaking to Bob and Shannon and the whole world here through Bob and Shannon. Bob plants crystals at Niagara Falls to make sure that the waters there are amplified and can touch everyone. I did my first sweat lodge with Shannon. We have a peace pole planted at her house where we released, did we release hawks there, or was that somewhere else? That was Choctaw land. It's like, we know where we're standing. We know the history.
Where there was a peace pole as well, Heidi.
Okay, good. In the Choctaw. That's in Oklahoma. And all of us are doing the best we can every day to set everyone up for success as much as we can, because we recognize that this playground that we're playing in is for all of us. And if we come there and we do our best with our gifts and our skill set, everyone else is going to do well as well. Even if they're the type of child that doesn't really care or recognize, they still get to benefit from the beauty that has been put into the place. It's like I'm imagining a really big sandbox, where it's like you make sure that there aren't any prickers in it and no kitties came and did their business in there, and that adults don't spit in it, and like these basic kind of rules of a playground, right, where you care for things, you love things, you respect things. And and we know this, as we move forward into that space full of love, it's like any of those creatures that we don't want in it, they go away. They don't stay where love is. That's that Martin Luther King, darkness doesn't drive out darkness, light does, right? And it's the truth. And I can feel my skin and my muscles having to tense at this statement, because we're saying it in public. And in public, we don't normally talk about things like this unless it's unity or sacred space. But let's just imagine for a second that this is all sacred space, that all of planet Earth is sacred space, that we are the miracles. And how do miracles work, Shannon?
You're in it.
How do they work? Do they fall from the sky, Shannon?
No. Well, okay. Well, no, they're here. They're already here.
Where did they come from?
Okay, I'll show you. They come from us. We're the miracle. Look at this miracle. Look at what's behind me. This is a miracle. You can see the colors. There's yellow, black, red, and the ceiling's white, right? Mm-hmm. And as I come to the computer and, I'm going to greet people, I go, oh yeah, I remember when I, painted that. And isn't it interesting that the ceiling is white? It kind of covers everything. I'm going to repaint my ceiling, right? I'm going to repaint my ceiling because we need to repaint it. These are the colors of mankind, right?
Right. Yes.
These are the 4 directions. These are the things that create balance in our lives. And so it needs to be balanced, right? And I can do that, right? I can do that. We have miracles every day. I walked from my little cabin to this little, I use it kind of as my office. It's just another little outbuilding on the property. And as I walk, I look out and it's kind of I don't know, there's a little haze to the day, right?
There is here too.
And there's I can see Lake Superior, so blue and beautiful. And I see my grandfather trees all around me, the sentinels that are here, right? And I think of all the support, and I get my water and I think about that. And I'm like, and I'm here.
That's the miracle to you. The miracle is in your environment and in your life. Yes.
This is a miracle. Everything is a miracle.
Right.
The spark of life, that spirit that moves through all things, through this universe, and beyond.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That is we have that.
Yeah.
We have that, and our children. These children and I want to speak specifically to our children because, our children already know this, right? They know this. They know our children came in knowing this, and then there was an onslaught to get them to forget. There's just a thing that happens, right? But we can change that in a moment,
Right now.
All we have to do is, when you said, oh, it seems like there's so much because the cars are going and everything's busy and da 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 da, and I'm like, and you're like, what are we to do? Well, stop. Duh.
And then what? And then go into your gifts.
When I was doing something I wasn't supposed to do, my father, honoring fathers on Father's Day, told me to stop it.
Sure, of course. That's the first thing they say. Stop it, right? I know it.
Well, if we're doing something that, and
But then where's the instruction? Stop it, and then what? Stop it and breathe.
The question is, I saw somebody ask the question every morning in that morning prayer.
Right.
What can I do today?
Right.
To contribute to the miracle in which I live.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to back you up on that. What can I do today to contribute to the miracle in which I am a part of which I am a contributor of, right?
Right.
Be of it, of the world, not in it, is one thing I've heard that I agree with in my lifetime from Jesus. And, happy Father's Day. Right? Miracles all around. Bob?
Yeah.
Miracles.
Oh, miracles. Wow. Well, I had the vision on 86, and then at the time I owned the largest, I had recently opened the largest REMAX real estate office in North America. And I have just reached my goals in December of 86 when I went down south. And when I came back, I gave it all up. And the other interesting thing about that particular date, December 31st, 86, Barbara Marx Hubbard, of course, you know about her. And she co-founded Global Family. She was the main co-founder of Global Family, actually, along with the twin sisters of Marion Cohane and Carolyn Anderson.
Nice.
And a gentleman by the name of Jeff Daly. The four of them created Global Family on December 31st, 1986.
Beautiful.
The same time I had the vision. I didn't know about that until a few months ago. But I ended up living in community with Global Family and Barbara 2 years later.
Right.
The beginning of 89, I went down and lived in community with them to work on the campaign for the earth. And that was a miracle.
Right?
It's still, yeah.
And so, it's like in answer to the things that we have an inner desire for, based in right action, of course. And note to the children of the world, do no harm to self, no harm to others, and no harm to the planet. And you are living in right relationship. One more time, do no harm to self, no harm to your family, no living thing, and do no harm to the planet. And you're in right relationship. And we've got a bit of a ways to go. I can hear people going, well, what about eating meat? And what about buying food in plastic? And what about clothing and manufacturing? And yeah. We're working that all out right now. We really are working that all out right now. And the basics always come back to the same thing. We are each other's miracles. Miracles come through people. They come through events and circumstances and things that happen on the journey. And so our job is to be aware that they're happening. And in that moment, being grateful. Because as we cover that gratitude, we cover it with gratitude. Gratitude is one surefire way to cover all your bases. If you don't know what to do, just get really, really grateful. And I am so grateful for Bob and Shannon for holding this container with me for 8 years, 365 days a year. We have never taken a dime from anybody. We have run this whole thing as lovers and in service to humanity. And we are moving from International Children's Month as a title, because we run 365 days a year, into International Children.world, which is going to be our new home on the web after June. And so we're moving into sharing more platforms and teachings and educations and events and the different things that we already do. And we're not sure because we're walking in guidance, right? We're working with our inner guidance systems, and Spirit is directing us as we move along. I found that anytime I tried to be very, very certain about things, it was very, very challenging. So I move in the moment with what is called of me, as does Bob and as does Shannon. We've had this conversation before many times. And Bob, what's the thing you say in the morning when you wake up?
Okay. For the highest good of all, what is the best use of my time, energy, and my resources and networks, because that's a resource,
Yeah.
with the knowledge, wisdom, skills, and imagination that I have?
Beautiful.
Question mark.
Yeah.
And then I say silently, I am listening. And I follow the nudges I have since January of '87.
Ah,
Awesome.
beautiful.
That's
Thank
so
you.
awesome. Yeah.
It brings me to two beautiful females that I'm in love with here on this, not just on the screen, but just our work together.
Oh, it makes my life worth living, honestly, working with you guys and having my family. I'm so deeply, deeply grateful. And I want to take this opportunity also to thank We the World, because they're supporting us with the live stream. And I want to thank Rick and Karen for teaching me how to be able to do this day. And I also want to thank World Unity Week for supporting International Children's Month. This is International Children's Month, and it's June. And this year is about the miracle.
And it's World Peace Day.
And it's World Peace and Prayer Day.
Yeah.
And it's we're going to do a wave of love that is going to, be so fantastic,
Right?
So I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you and Bob a story, and everybody a story. And because it's Father's Day, it's a story about my dad and about miracles and magic.
Great.
And what he taught me. So my dad was kind of a big burly man, and there was lots of kids in the family. So anytime you got special, your alone time with them, it was really like awesome. It was like, ooh, we got some special time, right? And one of those special times was he would go to the hardware store, and I love the hardware store. It was just so much fun to go in a hardware store because there were lots of aisles, and he would be busy looking at stuff, and I could go up and down the aisles and see all these cool things. I had no idea how to, what they were for, but they were shiny and I liked them. And so one day he said, hey, you want to go to the hardware store with me? And I'm like, yeah. So I got to be in the front seat. I love being in the front seat. And off we went to the hardware store. And it started to rain. And I said, windshield wipers on. And the windshield wipers went on. And I said, windshield wipers off. And the windshield wipers went off. And then I did it again. I said, but this time I looked at my dad because I want to make sure that he wasn't doing it, right? And he had his hands on the wheel. And they didn't move. They never moved. And I said, windshield wipers on, and the windshield wipers went on. And his hands never came off. So I said, I've got magic. And he said, you do? And I'm like, windshield wiper off. And then windshield wiper on. And it went off and on. And I was so excited. And he turned to me and he said, he said, the thing about having magic is that you have to not misuse it. You have to misusing that magic, because if you misuse it, you will lose it. And he was very serious about it. But I didn't care. I had magic. So we got to the hardware store, and he cracked the windows open a little bit. It was kind of steamy. And I did it again. Windshield wipers on and off a couple of times. And we got out, we went into the hardware store. And then we got back in. I was so excited to be back in, but now it was sunny, the kind of, humid thing, the steam came off. And I said, windshield wipers on, just immediately when I got into the car, and they didn't come on. And I said, and again, I said, windshield wipers on, and they didn't come on. And I looked at my dad and I'm like, what happened? He goes, I think you lost your magic. And I said, what? And he said, well, I told you if you misuse your magic, you would lose it. Well, where did it go? And he goes, I don't know. There's a little crack in the window there. It could have flown out. I'm like, So I was really, really bummed that I lost my magic.
Yeah.
But I understood I was responsible. I was the one that misused it. So I don't know. It must have been about 6 months later.
Mm-hmm.
We're on another trip. Everybody was in the car that time. And it started raining. I didn't say anything because I knew I didn't have magic. And the windshield wiper went on. And I found out that that car had a button on the floor. And he could activate the windshield wipers with the button on the floor. And I was mad. How dare he tell me I have magic, make me feel bad about losing that magic, and all the time it wasn't magic because he had a button on the floor. So I decided I was going to confront my dad about that. And sure enough, I had the conversation. And I accused him because he said, yes, there was a button on the floor. Did the windshield wipers go on when you said that windshield wipers on? I said, yes. Did they go off when you said, go off? I said, yes. And he said, did you misuse your magic? And I said, well, yes. And he said, is it any less magical that you had the power to get me to turn that on and off? And you misused that power? And I said, guess not. So and to me, what a wonderful gift and a lesson that he gave me about magic. That we all have magic, right? We can be magical with each other, miraculous with each other, right? But we have to recognize it and we have to not misuse it.
Right. Aw, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad.
I know, it makes me tear up because, it's just like, I want everyone to do well, and we made International Children's Month so people could do well, so that they would have some support and some empowerment behind them. And if they ever needed somebody or something, that it's there for them. So I was thinking about you being a little girl and your dad and who must have raised you, to be who you are, who came together to be you, to be your parents and your grandparents. And, I was doing a workshop the other day with Grandfather Golden Eagle, and Shannon and Bob and I've talked about this before too, with you're made up of your mother and your father and your mother's mother and father and your father's mother and father. And then you've got all your grandmothers, 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 and all your grandfathers, grandfathers, grandfathers behind you. So don't ever feel alone. You've got a powerhouse of your ancestors behind you. And as we walk into this day in a good way, we've got just a couple of minutes to close up here and do our final love of everyone for this segment of the day. As we walk into this day in a good way in our hearts, in love, care, and respect, which is what the wave is for. June 21 annually, 1:11 p.m. in every heart and time zone. Brought in and stewarded by Grandfather Bob Challenger. And for me, I loved it in support of World Peace and Prayer Day because it happens on June 21st of every year also. We put our energies together, put our hearts in the center, and here we grow. This is the miracle. And I just want to honor Grandmother Shannon CrossBear and Grandfather Bob Challenger and all that you do in the world and all that you are. I love you so much. What would you like to say in closing?
Thank you again, Heidi. And you never told anybody on this show anyway how you actually got the message to do this amazing work.
I was standing in my kitchen and I had met Bob and Shannon and I had met my indigenous relations and my soul tribe on the planet. And I always ask what I can do to make the world a better place. And I had already been praying for all the world's children every morning with the sun, praying for all the world's children, asking for them to be loved and cared for and respected. And I heard, I was doing the dishes, make International Children's Month. And I thought, it was a very different voice. And I thought, as if it's hasn't already happened, as if somebody hasn't already done it. And I sat down at the computer and I Googled it and I looked around everywhere that I could see and no one had in fact done it. And so I called up Nancy Hummingbird from Honoring the Circle and Grandmother CrossBear and Bob. And I said, I've been instructed to make International Children's Month. I can't do this alone. Will you help me? And they said, yes. And that was that. Those were the days. And it was May 2013. And I said, okay, well, I told Nancy Hummingbird, we'll try for next year. And she said, Heidi, when Spirit gives you something to do, you don't wait a whole year. It's next month. And I said, June? We're going to go for June? And Spirit said, yes. And I said, okay. And then we just made the website. I made the website and I was teaching pre-K and the platform was peace because what we were working with that year was peace. So International Children Imagine Peace. And our friends and family can go to internationalchildrensmonth.com/2020 for our brand new guide to June this year. There's all kinds of events happening for the month. You can go to internationalchildrensmonth.com for 8 years of 365-day-a-year empowerment platform for youth, families, and educators. And we are going to be creating more in the world. And we have another segment coming up after this. So I'm going to end the live stream for this segment. And we're going to be back in 5 minutes with the next event, which is going to be helping families heal from trauma. And I think it's going to be powerful as well. So in the light of love and the mantle of truth, I am in circle with Shannon and Bob and you and World Unity Week and World Peace and Prayer Day and the Children's Global Wave of Love. Please join us at 1:11 in your time zone and in your heart. And may we all trust the power of our love because we three stand here as proof, I suppose, that the power of love can create things that are unimaginable. And then when they are imaginable, reality, tangible things to play with. Okay, Shannon and Bob, blessings for your day. We are with you in spirit all day long. Send us out with a quick prayer, Shannon.
Oh, Chimigwach, Madino, Nokomis, Mishnomish, grandfathers, grandmothers. Look upon all those that are watching and all those that will be participating today. And just let us be grateful for all the blessings. Thank you, ancestors, for doing what you did to make it possible that we could be here together today.
Aho.
Aho.
All right. Many blessings for your day. May love and light surround you each and every day. And we are going to see you in 5 minutes. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Children's Global Wave of Love, World Unity Week, World Peace and Prayer Day, Day of Action. We love you. We thank you and we respect you. Blessings to the waters.
So be it.
So be it.